Hey, good morning, buddies. This is Pratibha Bojka, lecturer in English, Giriraj Government College, Nizamabad. As in the earlier class, we learned about Sir Isaac Newton, written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It's a short biographical essay about Newton. Okay, so we learned that he used to prepare, he has manufactured many tools to prepare small articles, small things. We're talking about his childhood days, how did he, what he used to do. And next we learned that he has prepared a clock which is gonna work by water, dropping of the water, right? So in today's class we're gonna learn what he has prepared next after clock, what he has prepared. Right, dears? Let's begin the class. So in earlier class we have stopped here that he has prepared a clock which was not working by the wheels and weights, but it was working by the dropping of water. Right? Okay. So let's move to the next slide. This was an object. This was an object of great wonderment to all the people round about. And it must be confessed that there are few boys or men either who could contrive to tell what o'clock it is by means of a bowl of water. Everyone knew. So this was an what do you call wonderment object prepared by Newton. Understood, beta? And that clock is gonna work by what do you call a ball in the a ball what do you call contains water in it, and that gonna work like a clock, means the dropping of the water, the clock gonna work. This was made by Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. Understood, beta? And let's see what he has prepared next. Besides the water clock, Isaac made a sundial. Besides the water clock, he has made a sundial. Thus, his grandmother was never at a loss to know the hour, for the water clock would tell it in the shade and the dial in the sunshine. Okay, so by preparing the water clock and also the sundial, now her grandmother will never mistake at what hour she is now. She gonna never make she gonna never get any mistake what the time is. He has prepared the two clocks, one is water clock and the other one is sundial. Understood, beta? The sundial is said to be still in existence at Woolthorpe, on the corner of the house where Isaac dwelt, and what do we call Hawthorne says that the sundial which was prepared by Isaac Newton is still existing now, besides the house where Isaac used to live. The sundial which was prepared by him in the childhood days for what do we call grandmother, he made for grandmother, that she should not be mistaken to know the hour. So that is still existing at Woolsthorpe, in the corner of the house where Isaac used to live. Did you understand, beta? Okay, is it clear? We'll move to the next slide. If so, it must have marked the passage of every sunny hour that has elapsed. Since Isaac Newton was a boy, it marked all the famous moments of his life. It marked the hour of his death, and still the sunshine creeps slowly over it as regularly as when Isaac first set it up. So, when he made the sundial, and we got to know that it is still existing now, where Isaac used to live, where Newton used to live, the place, what do you call, the small village Woolstop, and it's still existing now in the corner of the house. So here, what do you call, the author want to say that, so it must have marked each and everything, because in the childhood days he had created it, okay, he manufactured it, and then still it is working. So it might have marked all whatever happened in the life of Newton, and after Newton what is happening, maybe it has marked everything. If so, it must have marked the passage of every sunny hour that has elapsed since Isaac Newton was a boy. It has remarked every situation from when it was prepared, when it was manufactured. It marked all the famous moments of his life. Every moment was remarked by the marked by the sundial. It marked the hour of his death, and it marked the hour of the death of Isaac Newton, because it was still working, and still the sunshine creeps slowly over it. And after death of Newton also, the sun gonna creep slowly over it, and as regularly as when Isaac first did. Means how it, when Isaac set it up in the starting first day, how it is to work, and it is working in the same way till now also. So it might have marked every situation, every moment in the life of Isaac Newton, and the death hour of Isaac Newton, and after the death of Isaac Newton. Understood better? In the same way as it was first set up, how it is to work, and now also in the same way it is marking all the moments. Did you understand better? Is it clear? Okay. Yet, we must not say that the sundial has lasted longer than its maker, for Isaac Newton will exist long after the dial, yeah, and long after the sun itself shall have crumbled to decay. Means, don't feel that the sundial is existing after the death of Newton. In every what do we call whatever he has discovered, introduced, created, he is existing in all those things. Yet we must not say that the sundial has lasted longer than its maker. The maker is Newton and he is no more. And don't say that it is working till now also. But Newton will exist in each and everything what he has created. Did you understand better? Don't feel that the things made by Isaac are living longer than the maker. But in each and every thing, on each and every article, in each and every law, Newton gonna exist. Is it clear, beta? Did you understand? Okay, shall we move to the next slide? Isaac possessed a wonderful faculty of acquiring knowledge by the simplest means. For instance, what method do you suppose he took to find out the strength of the wind? So here Isaac used to acquire knowledge in a very simplest manner. He used to means he didn't study what do you call very large number of books, or to find out anything. He didn't do very big experiments. So you will never guess how he would find out what do you call whatever he want to find. Okay, let us know how did he find out whatever he want to find. Isaac possessed a wonderful faculty of acquiring knowledge by the simplest means, very simplest means. For instance, what method do you suppose he took to find out the strength of the wind? So to find out the strength of the wind, how did he found it? How did he measure the strength of the wind? In what way he measured the strength of the wind? Let us know. You will never guess how the boy could compel that unseen inconstant and ungovernable wanderer, the wind, to tell him the measure of his strength. Yet nothing can be more simple. So how he will never guess, we can never guess how did he what do we call found the strength of the wind, because it cannot be seen, it cannot be inconstant means it cannot what do you call stay at one place. Okay, it's completely wanderer, ungoverned wanderer, governable wanderer, it moves. So how could he tell the measure of its strength? Very simple, in the very simplest way he has measured the strength of the wind. How? We're gonna learn in the next slide. Okay, so let me tell you, he did not read very large number of books, nor he did very big experiments. In very simplest way he used to find out all the whatever he wanted to know. In very simplest way he used to find out. Okay, and here we're gonna learn how did he measure the wind. Okay, let's learn in the next slide. Let's move into the next slide to know how he has measured the wind. Right, he jumped against the wind, and by the length of his jump he could calculate the force of the gentle breeze, a brisk gale, or a tempest. Thus, even in his boyish sports, he was continually searching out the secrets of philosophy. Did you understand better how did he measure the wind? By just jumping, and by that jump against the wind, opposite to the wind, he used to jump, and by the length of his jump, he used to measure the wind. Is it gentle breeze or brisk gale or the tempest? Understood better? Brisk gale means very active strong wind, and tempest, you know, it's a violent windy storm. Okay, so by jumping against the wind he used to measure the strength of the wind. And here the author says that in his boyish sports, when he used to have a game, when he used to uh, play game, in that also he used to search out the secrets of philosophy. Every time his mind was searching for new things, in every way, he want to search the new things. Understood better? Did you understand? Now did you understand how did he measure the wind? He jumped against the wind and he calculated the length of his jump. By that calculation he could tell the is it a gentle breeze, brisk gale, or tempest. Is it gentle breeze, active strong wind, or the violent windy storm? Understood better? And thus even in his boyish sports he was continually searching out the secrets of philosophy. Did you understand better? Okay, then we'll move to the next slide. Not far from his grandmother's residence there was a windmill which operated on a new plan. Isaac was in the habit of going thither frequently and would spend whole hours in examining its various parts. While the mill was at rest, he prayed into its internal machinery. Understood better? There was there was a windmill. Do you know what this windmill is? The mill which used to make grain into flour, and that is to work in the air mechanism. When air used to blow, the wind, the mill used to work. Understood better? And that was very near to the residence of her grandmother, and every time he used to go with her grandmother. Whenever grandmother used to used to make grain to the flour, he used to go to that mill, and then he used to see how the mechanism working of that windmill, what is the mechanism behind it. And whenever it was in the rest, he used to enter into the machinery, how it is working, what are the tools used inside to make the grains into flour. Understood? What are the various parts working in that windmill? Understood? Okay. Not far from his grandmother's residence, there was a windmill which operated on a new plan. Isaac was in the habit of going thither frequently and would spend whole hours in examining its various parts. While the mill was at rest, he prayed into its internal machinery. I feel you have understood, beta. Okay, he used to enter into that whenever the wind was in mill was in the rest. He used to enter into that machinery and he used to see all the parts, how they are working and what are the parts used to that windmill. Right. Okay, let's move to the next slide. When its broad sails were set in motion by the wind, he watched the process by which the millstones were made to revolve and crush the grain that was put into the hopper. After gaining a thorough knowledge of its construction, he was observed to be unusually busy with his tools. When he, what do we call, watched all those things, okay, so how the mill is working, how that the grains are put into the hopper and how the flour is coming outside. When he got complete knowledge, now he started constructing a mill with all his tools. And in the earlier class only I said that he had manufactured very small tools, all the sizes of seesaws, the saws and all the tools he has now. And with all those tools he started preparing a mill. Understood, beta? When its broad sails were set in motion by the wind, he watched the process by which the millstones were made to revolve and crush the grain that was put into the hopper. After gaining a thorough knowledge of its construction, he was observed to be unusually busy with his tools. He started preparing a small mill with his tools. It was not long before his grandmother and all the neighborhood knew what Isaac had been about. He had constructed a model of the windmill, though not so large, I suppose, as one of the bog traps which boys set to catch squirrels. Yet every part of the mill and its machinery was complete. So by watching all those, as I said that he used to every day visit with his grandmother, what do you call, grandmother, he used to go to that windmill and he used to watch each and everything, how the mill is working, what are the tools, what are the machinery used inside that what do you call windmill. And by watching all those things he started preparing what do we call a small windmill with the tools which he had. And that was not big, it was of the very small box type in which the boys gonna catch squirrel. It was of that size. And by using every part, what are the parts used in that windmill, the large windmill, he has used every part in this small mill and he has prepared a small mill which was complete. Okay, though not so large, I suppose, as one of the box traps which boys set to catch squirrels. Okay, it was same like box trap which boys set to catch squirrels. At every part of the mill and its machinery was complete. Understood, beta? He has prepared a small windmill. Right, beta? So let's move to the next slide. Its little sails were neatly made of what do you call linen and whirled round very swiftly when the mill was placed in a draught of air. Even a puff of wind from Isaac's mouth or from a pair of bellows was sufficient to set the sails in motion. It was very little. It was beautifully designed. If there was draught of air, that what do we call, or very small puff of the wind from the Isaac mouth, okay, or from the pair of their friends, or the wind, okay, it was sufficient for the sails in motion. The windmill which was prepared by Isaac used to work with a small puff of wind from the Isaac mouth or from his friends. Okay, beta. Did you understand? So he's prepared very small by seeing the machinery worked with under the large windmill. He has manufactured or he has prepared a small windmill. Right, beta? Did you understand? And what was most curious, if a handful of grains of wheat were put into the little hopper, they would soon be converted into snow white flour. Okay, so a handful of grains, because it was very small. No, okay, you understand better. It was very, that windmill was very small, and if a handful of grains were put into that hopper, in no minute it was converted into snow white flour. Isaac's playmates were enchanted with his new windmill. They thought they thought that nothing so pretty and so wondered had ever been seen in the whole world. So when that small windmill was created, what do you call, manufactured by, prepared by, what do you call, Isaac Newton, it was ready by small puff wind from the mouth of Isaac or friends. Okay, that used to work, and a handful of if the handful of grains were put into the little hopper, within no time it was converted into snow white flour, and his playmates, his friends, were very much enchanted, were very by seeing this new windmill. They thought that nothing was so pretty and so wonderful and ever been seen in the whole world. They have not seen anything before that. It was really very wonderful, very pretty, very beautiful, which was prepared by Isaac Newton. Okay, beta. So in the first class, we learned that he has prepared a clock which used to work by dropping of water, and then he has prepared a sundial, and next he has prepared a small windmill which gonna what we call convert the handful of wheat grains within no time as snow white flour. Okay, beta. Thank you for listening my class, dears. We'll end the class here, and the next we'll take it in the next next period. Okay, beta. Thank you, dears.